Dear students, a very good morning to all of you. We were discussing about lipids in milk. Part first have also been discussed with you. Now we are moving onwards to the part 2. In this topic, we are going to cover composition, classification, and distribution of lipids in milk. The lipids in milk are unique for the species because of the fact that fatty acid composition and its biosynthesis is different in each species. What is the meaning of this line? That in each species the milk is different from composition point of view because in the milk of each species the proportion of different fatty acid is different. In some milk some fatty acids are predominant, while in case of milk of other species some other fatty acids may be dominating. So and the why this is so? This is so because difference in the process of biosynthesis of fatty acids during milk synthesis. So that's why the milk lipids are unique. Then the role of milk lipid in nutrition is its capability to yield approximately 37 kilojoule per gram of energy, or you can say 9 kilocalorie per gram of energy, which is almost more than double of each carbohydrate or protein. 1 gram of carbohydrate contains approximately 4 kilocalorie of per gram of carbohydrate, and similarly 1 gram of protein also possess 4 kilocalorie of energy, but fats are having 9 kilocalorie of energy per gram. So they are a very rich and concentrated source of energy, and apart from carrying the energy they also carry the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E and K. These are the four fat soluble vitamins, and these all vitamins are also carried by milk fat. Besides this, the presence of significant amount of essential fatty acids. What are essential fatty acids? Essential fatty acids are those fatty acids which cannot be synthesized by our body, and we have to take them in mainly through diet. Just like the case with essential amino acids, like out of 20 amino acids approximately 10 amino acids were essential, means our body cannot synthesize those amino acids. Same is the case with certain fatty acids, specifically long chain unsaturated fatty acids, for example linoleic, linolenic, arachidonic, docosahexaenoic and eicosapentaenoic fatty acids. These fatty acids are essential fatty acids and our body cannot synthesize these fatty acids, so we have to take them through diet, and milk fat is a very good source of linoleic and arachidonic fatty acids, and rest of the essential fatty acids can be synthesized from these fatty acids. So these are the important functions of milk fat. What are these functions? They carry quite large amount of energy, they carry fat soluble vitamins, and they also carry essential fatty acids. The fourth important function of milk fat is the contribution to the rich and pleasing flavor to milk and milk products, which cannot be duplicated, which cannot be mimicked by other fats, fats from other origin. For example, in this case we can consider the example of ice cream and frozen desserts. In case of frozen desserts, the source of fat is vegetable oil, and in case of ice cream, the source of fat is exclusively milk fat. So there is a quite significant difference in the flavor of ice cream and frozen desserts, and this is because of rich and pleasing flavor of milk fat, which contributes to the that typical taste and flavor of ice cream. So this flavor which is produced by milk fat cannot be mimicked by any other fat. Why it cannot be mimicked? Because milk fat is made up of a large variety of fatty acids, and these fatty acids are very unique. For example, butyric acid is very unique to bovine milk fat, so the flavor cannot be mimicked by others. Then the body and texture of the milk products is largely being influenced by the milk component. Texture of butter, texture of cheese, texture of cream, which are having very large percentage of milk fat, uh, is due to presence of fat in these products. So take a look about the composition of the milk fat. We can assume that 97 to 98% of the milk fat is present in the form of triacyl glycerols. And if we account for tri, di, and monoacyl glycerols, then we can say that more than 99% of the milk fat is present in the form of either tri or di or monoacyl glycerols. The remaining 1% is contributed by free sterols, free fatty acids, phospholipids, hydrocarbons, and sterol esters. Out of these, the free fatty acids, they are also considered as an indicator of, you can say, fat oxidation or rancidity of fat. Higher the presence amount of free fatty acids, FFA content, the then the more oxidized or more rancid the fat is being considered. Now discussing about the classification of lipids. The lipids can be classified on into three categories: simple lipids, compound lipids, and derived lipids. Simple lipids are of two types: neutral fats and waxes. Compound lipids are of further two types: phospholipids and glycolipids. Phospholipids are of further various types. We will discuss them in coming slides. And derived lipids are produced by the hydrolysis of simple and compound lipids. So we will start with simple fats. The lipids which yield only fatty acids and glycerol upon hydrolysis are called as simple lipids. These are of two types: natural fats and waxes. What are natural fats? They are found in adipose tissue, butter fat, lard, fish oils, olive oil, corn oil, etc. What are they made up of? They are made up of esters of three molecules of fatty acids with one molecule of glycerol. That means triacyl glycerol. If two fatty acids are involved, then diacyl glycerol, and if only one fatty acid is involved, then monoacyl glycerols. So you can say that 99% of the milk fat is made up of neutral fats. They are not having any type of charges. Then the second is waxes. Waxes are composed of esters of fatty acids with long chain monohydric alcohol. It has industrial and medicinal importance. For example, bee wax means waxes are made up of esters of long chain fatty acids, and the alcohol is other than the, you can say, glycerol. Then talking about the compound lipids. Phospholipids are one type of compound lipids. They are mainly found in animal tissues. They are basically substituted fats consisting of phosphatidic acid, composed of a glycerol, fatty acids, and phosphoric acid bound in ester linkage to a nitrogenous base. So, here you can look into the structure that this is the, you can say, basic structure of phospholipids, and the basic structure is called as phosphatidic acid. What is there in the structure? There is a glycerol backbone which is at SN1 position there is one fatty acid attached. At SN2 position there is another fatty acid attached. Mostly, in most of the case, the fatty acid at SN2 position is unsaturated fatty acid, and SN1 position the fatty acid is saturated. At SN3 position of the glycerol, there is a phosphoric acid which is bound by ester linkage to a nitrogenous base. The X here in the structure is the nitrogenous base. This base changes and the type of phospholipid also changes. So this is the basic structure of phospholipid and is also called as phosphatidic acid. The X is substituted and many type of fatty acids are formed. For example, lecithin. In this case, lecithin is also called as phosphatidylcholine or serine and is found in brain, egg yolk and organ meats. Phosphatidylcholine is linked to choline as a lipotropic agent. What is lipotropic agent? Lipotropic agent is something which helps in breaking down of fat during metabolism and is important in fat metabolism and transportation. It is also used as emulsifying agent in the food industry. In milk fat, most of the phospholipids are present in the form of lecithin, and lecithin is considered as a uh, valuable emulsifier in the food industry. In the structure also you can see that the nitrogenous base which is attached by ester linkage to phosphoric acid is the this uh, choline. So the compound is phosphatidylcholine or lecithin. Then the second type of phospholipid is cephalin. It occurs predominantly in nervous tissue and it is also called as ethanolamine because the nitrogenous base in this case is ethanolamine. And this is phosphatidylserine is where phosphatidyl linkage to ethanolamine or serine plays a role in blood clotting. So it is having an important role in clotting of blood. Then plasmalogen is another type of phospholipid. Plasmalogen are a unique class of membrane glycerophospholipids containing a fatty alcohol with a vinyl ether bond at SN1 position and enriched in polyunsaturated fatty acid at SN2 position. So what is the difference between plasmalogen and the other phospholipids? In other type of phospholipids at SN1 position there was present a fatty acid via ester linkage, but in case of this, the fatty acid is attached by a vinyl ether bond at SN1 position. In animal tissue, the highest proportion of plasmalogen form is usually in the phosphatidyl ethanolamine class with rather less in phosphatidylcholine and commonly little or none is in other phospholipids such as phosphatidyl inositol. The next phospholipid is inositol or phosphatidyl inositol. It is a negatively charged phospholipid and is a minor component in the cytosolic side of the eukaryotic cell membrane. What is eukaryotic cell? The cell with the defined nucleus are called as eukaryotic cells. In those type of cells, the membrane are having two sides, one side which is towards the cytoplasm and other side which is towards the outside interacting with the other cells or the interstitial space. So the phosphatidyl inositol is present in the membrane of eukaryotic cells, that part of the membrane which is facing towards cytosol, and the phosphorylation of the inositol can be uh, of many types. Inositol can be phosphorylated to form phosphatidyl inositol phosphate, phosphatidyl inositol bisphosphate, and phosphatidyl inositol trisphosphate. All these are collectively called phosphoinositides. And what is their function? Phosphoinositides play important role in lipid signaling, cell signaling, and membrane trafficking. Talking about another type of phospholipid, that is sphingomyelin. This is found in nervous tissue, brain, and RBCs. Sphingosine, how it is different from others? It contains phosphatide. Upon hydrolysis, it yields fatty acids, choline, sphingosine, phosphoric acid, and no glycerol. So this is the difference between this and rest of the phospholipids. that the backbone is not glycerol. The backbone is another alcohol which is called as sphingosine, and it is a source of phosphoric acid in body tissues. Then talking about glycolipids. Glycolipids are the compound containing one or more monosaccharide moiety bound by a glycosidic linkage to a hydrophobic moiety. So, as the name indicates, glycolipids. Glyco means carbohydrate. So, when a carbohydrate is attached with the phospholipid, then that phospholipid is that compound lipid, you can say, is called as glycolipid. The IUPAC definition implies that a huge variety of structures can be named glycolipids. Different glycolipid classes exist having various possible backbone molecular structures such as acyl glycerols, sphingosines, ceramides, and steroids. As in the structure, also you can see that this is general structure of cerebroside, which is a glycoside. The sugar unit may be glucose or galactose. These glycolipid classes are not homogeneous and show distinct variation in the structure, such as the type and number of carbohydrate moieties or fatty acid residues attached. Because of its amphiphilic behavior, this group of lipids is surface active and shows biological as well as technological functions. Steroids are another example of compound lipids. They are found in egg yolk, dairy products, and animal tissues. They are a precursor of vitamin D3 and bile acids. So this is the structure of glycerol on your screen. Uh, Sorry, this is the structure of cholesterol on your screen. So cholesterol is a steroid, and any compound which contains four fused rings and a hydroxyl group at the third carbon of the first ring, they are steroidal in nature. This is the indication of the steroid compound. Any compound having this type of structure in them is called as steroidal in nature, and the figure which is on your screen is the structure of general structure of cholesterol, which contains four fused rings. The three rings are six carbon atoms and the fourth ring is of five uh, atoms. Talking about the third category of classification of lipids, that is derived lipids, in which fatty acids can be considered as derived lipids. They occur in plant and animal foods. They also exhibit complex forms with other substances like glycerol. When they gets associated with glycerol, they form tri, di, and monoacyl glycerols. They are obtained from hydrolysis of fats, usually contains an even number of carbon atoms and are of straight chain derivatives. Classification of fatty acids is based on the length of carbon chain. They may be having short, medium, and long chain saturated fatty acids, and the number of double bonds, saturated, monounsaturated, and polyunsaturated fatty acids, or essentiality in the diet, essential or non-essential fatty acids. The fatty acids can also be classified on the basis of these parameters, and we have already discussed all of these parameters in detail in the previous video lectures. A current designation is based on the position of double bonds, counting from the methyl group, also called as omega end. So when we are counting the position of double bond from the methyl end, this is normal counting. But if we count the position from the opposite end, from the back end, or from the omega end, you can say, then the fatty acids are called as omega fatty acids. And there are two type of omega fatty acids which are very important from nutrition point of view: omega 3 fatty acids and omega 6 fatty acids. So those fatty acids, while counting the position of double bond from the omega end, the first double bond comes at the third carbon atom. Those fatty acids are called as omega 3 fatty acids, whereas those fatty acids in which the first double bond arrives at sixth carbon atom from the omega end, those fatty acids are called as the uh, omega 6 fatty acids. So counting from the omega end or methyl end is not routinely. How we count? We count from the carboxylic end of the fatty acid, the head of the fatty acid. We count the carbon atom which is involved in carboxylic group as the first carbon atom. But if we count from the methyl end, from the tail end, or from the omega end, you can say all these are same things, then the concept of omega fatty acids uh, is applied. And the omega 6 fatty acids, omega 3 fatty acids, for example eicosapentaenoic, docosahexaenoic fatty acids, they are having a very important role in nutrition, and their ratio in diet is also important. This can be discussed further in some other video lectures in detail. So now we will take a look at the distribution of lipids in milk. uh, Most of the lipids, 99 99%, 98 to 99% are as present in the form of triglyceride, and their location is fat globule. Phospholipids, lecithin, cephalin, sphingomyelin, and other, they are present only in 0.2 to 1%, and they are present in fat globule membrane and milk serum. Sterols, lenosterol, cholesterol, sterol esters, they are present only in amount of 0.25 to 0.40%, and their location may be fat globule, maybe fat globule membrane, or maybe milk fat. Then free fatty acids are present in fresh fat in only traces, either associated with fat globule or milk serum. Then the waxes, squalene, fat soluble vitamins, they are also present in traces and are found associated with fat globules. Talking about vitamin A, D, E, and K along with carotenes, they are uh, present in micrograms per gram of the fat, and they may be present in any location: fat globules, membrane, milk serum, etc. So dear students, this was about today's lecture. In next class we will discuss about the third part of lipids in milk. Till then, take care, stay home, stay safe. Goodbye.